Hello, and welcome to another edition of Comics and Pop. Today, we are going to be discussing the Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. And I saw this, and my eye, there goes my eye again. I saw this like several weeks ago. So I had when it first came out. So I had to refamiliarize myself with this movie. And to start off with, first of all, I've said it on our podcast before. I'll keep saying it. I'm a huge Chris Pratt fan. So no matter what he does, I'm already like into it a little bit. I enjoy everything he does. For the most part, I like this movie. I want to hear your guys' thoughts before I go into mine, but for the most part, I did like this movie. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I had mixed feelings about it. I mean, it was a good action movie. It was kind of like maybe this generation's what was that Will Smith movie? Independence Day. Yeah, it was kind of like this generation's Independence Day. It was so much, man. It was to me. I think that it would have been better if it would have been like maybe like a mini series. If they would have done like like a little 4-episode or 6-episode miniseries to kind of stretch it out because they put so much into it, man. So much goes into it. It was long, and there was so much put into it. I mean, there's so many questions and so many unanswered things, and that we were like, that made me think. I guess that's my general thoughts. I guess we'll go into it, a little bit more. What about you, Troy? What do you think?
I thought the same thing. I was thinking Independence Day, especially like when he punches the monster in the face. I could just see Will Smith punching that monster, talking about "Welcome to Earth." I'm like, that was it. I enjoyed it. I didn't think I was going to, so I avoided it for the first few days. Did other stuff, but it was good. J.K. Simmons, for a little dude, was buff.
I read that he was working out to get in shape for this movie, and it showed.
Yeah,
right.
Omni-Man was big, and I like that. There were a lot of tropes. There were a lot of movie tropes that you expected. The nerdy kid in the beginning when he was like, volcanoes. I was like, oh, we're going to come back.
He was coming back. You knew
he was coming back. Yeah. And then when every single time like the monster was running towards one of the main characters, I was like, oh, like last minute save. There's going to be a last minute save. Someone's going to shoot it or tackle it or hit it with a tank or whatever. And they did that. There were a lot of movie tropes in here, but I still it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable.
The one I thought of besides Independence Day was what's that Tom Cruise movie? The something that was like a Groundhog Day one.
When he's going back and forth through time,
right?
Yeah, fighting aliens.
Now I gotta look up this movie here.
Was that Oblivion?
Something.
I love this podcast. We're always like
Edge of Tomorrow. I know we don't care.
We're always
Edge of Tomorrow. Is that it? So it reminded me a lot of that. The whole time travel thing, and I have the two things, and my eyes are just going crazy right now. So I'm crying. I'm all emotional about this movie, but we have Independence Day. We had, the things I love. I have Chris Pratt. I have time travel. So I was like all into this thing. I did like it. I didn't love it. It seemed to me like at the end of the movie, they changed the whole thing. You didn't necessarily have to go get this serum that they did in the future to the Queen. They just went ahead and like blew up the ship or whatever, blew up the thing. So we didn't need to do all that.
So for me, when it comes to movies like this, I'm always a little skeptical, and it's weird because I'm a comic book guy, right? We're like this. Our podcast has been based mostly on comic book movies and comic book shows, So most of the stuff that we watch is pretty unbelievable. It's it's made up stuff. It's sci-fi, right? But when to me, anything that's not comic book and it's not like realistic, I always stub my nose at it a little bit, right? So Loki and gods and stuff, all realistic, and Kang, yes, of course, but there was a couple of things in this movie that to me were like kind of like it made me like think, it's like one of the things that I was like, come on, man. It was like, okay, so you have these people from the future, right? And they're coming, basically they're coming back 30 years in the past. and they basically need soldiers to help fight this future war because we have these aliens that are destroying the Earth, and they're it's pretty much it's a no-win situation. So what they're doing is they're drafting people from the past and bringing them over to the future to help fight, right? But to me, it's like the aliens that they're fighting, I mean, these are unstoppable aliens. I mean, they're pretty much, they're destroying the world because they're pretty much unstoppable. And you're going back 30 years and you're bringing back, people in their 40s and 50s, some of them who've never even fired a gun, and
Right.
just dropping them here. Go kill the aliens, kind of like feeding them to, so it's like, that was like, that was a little bit unbelievable to me. So, and I remember when I first watched Independence Day, I loved Independence Day. I mean, it's one of the, all the classics, right? But at the same time, I remember when I watched it, I was like, if we ever get invaded by aliens, we're screwed. If aliens ever come to attack us and invade us, we're done, because, the way, if they are like anything like the aliens from Independence Day or from this movie, they're gonna wipe out the Earth within 2 hours, basically. Because there's nothing we can do to fight these kind of beings. We don't have, unless we.
Well, you don't know what we have.
No, unless we nuke them and nuke ourselves, and go underground and nuke the world or whatever. These things are pretty much unstoppable. So that was like one of the beefs that I had. I mean, I'll go into some more, I guess. But, what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that part?
I just want to say that this reminded me last summer. Remember when there was a whole "Let's storm Area 51"? Was it like that
Right.
whole big thing?
Rush the gate.
Right. What are you going to do once you're there and there really are aliens? I mean, what's the end goal? We're going to find it. What if there really are being evil aliens kept there in cells? Once you get in and find them and release them, what's your end goal? This is like that, if there really are aliens out
right. So, right. That goes back to the point that I just made. It's funny because, you say you have all these people storming Area 51, right? So you always have, like, to me, it's funny you always have all these people, all these program people, whatever, who are like, come take my guns, whatever, blah, blah. If 100 armed soldiers, trained soldiers show up at your front door, they're going to take your guns or you're going to die, right? One of the others, right? So the whole Area 51, these people storming Area 51, if there was something there and the government wanted to protect it, you're not getting it, okay? Period, end of story, you're not getting it. So that goes back to my point, our soldiers in the future were getting destroyed by these things, and you're going to bring regular people, untrained people, and throw them in there to save the world, so it's like that whole.
There was so few left. There was so few soldiers left. They needed soldiers.
Right, soldiers, yes. So you send soldiers. You don't send. You're going to send. You're going to send me.
Had a chef hat.
That's what I'm saying.
I got a point for what both of you said. For what Jonathan about like storming the gate. That takes me a little bit away from the show, but it takes me to a thing when I'm watching these shows, right? And like you were saying, what if you actually find it? I'm watching these shows like In Search of Bigfoot and stuff like that.
Yes.
I'm thinking to myself, these guys go into the woods looking for a gigantic bipedal hominid creature that can kill freaking deer with a smack of his hand. Like it kills and eats deer. And I'm thinking, you know how big a deer is? You're going to hit that with your fist and kill it? And these guys are out in the woods looking for it. And the only thing they got are sleeping bags and cameras. I'm like, what if you find it? And a 6-pack of beer. And a 6-pack of beer. If you find it, it's gonna smack and break your back. It's like saying I'm gonna go to the woods and look for a lion. What happens if you find it? It also found you. So I agree with that. But going back to what Carlos was saying, I also agree about like the time travel thing. This is what I was thinking. You remember at the end where they find out that there were 2 races of aliens, and one of them were transporting the white spikes.
The white spikes, right? Yeah.
What if the aliens that brought them here also gave man the ability to time travel? Because he knows they're like, look, we're going to drop these things here because they're wiping out our race. We'll put them on Earth. By the time they get ready to just wipe out all of the humans, we'll give them the technology to time travel so that they can bring more humans to be fed to the white spikes so that they don't leave and come back to our planet. So they'll constantly be eating humans. Millions of humans here. And then when the humans start to run out, they'll bring more food from the past. It's like feeding your buddies. And then you say, oh, we're running out of chips. I'll run to the store. That's what they did. That time travel machine was basically running to the store because the lady said only, what did she say, 20%, 30%? But the people that go come back.
Yeah.
And if those people, they're all broken up, missing legs and everything. So I'm thinking they're eating all of the current humans and 70% of the ones from the past. Well, it was a smorgasbord.
And with this whole time travel thing, what was the TVA? How come the TVA had nothing to do? How come they didn't have anything to say about this?
Well, and here's another thing.
Yeah.
Why didn't they send, if they were like, okay, look, we've discovered the ability to time travel. Why didn't they send people back, 3 years and find out how the aliens got there and stop them? Or 5 years and find out how the alien, why would they say, you know what, we're just going to fight them and just continue to fight? Why didn't they try to stop them?
Well, that's always the thing in time travel movies. Like, he's like, well, this could have all been solved if we went back even to a different time. In every time travel movie, that's the trope. We could have just picked a different time and stopped all of this. Like, we could stop Doc Brown from getting that, plutonium or, to begin with.
Makes me think about the guy from Avengers, and where he's like, why don't we just do this and just get rid of him like that?
To the basic part, I mean, we've watched so many movies. First of all, I got to take offense. You talked about that nerdy kid. You said the nerdy kid. I mean, I was looking at that kid's us. Back in 1980. So,
that's true.
Yes,
that's true.
That kid struck home. But we have the whole time. The end of the movie. First of all, reminded me a little bit like of Gremlins. Where we wiped out all of the gremlins at the end. We wiped out all the white spikes, but you knew that there was going to be the head gremlins outside, the theater getting snacks. The head white spike was outside, so you knew there was going to be the final confrontation, but it's never easy. Yeah. So I did feel like it pulled in some of the tropes from a lot of other movies there too. Like I said, I still enjoyed it, and also I think we've watched too many movies because I knew it was the daughter. I do. Once you get in the future, I knew. I once she starts interacting with him, I like, oh, that's his daughter. It was like no doubt in my mind.
Yeah. So here's my second beef with the movie, right? My second major beef with the movie. We're going back to tropes, right? So this guy goes to the future, right? And the leader in the future is his daughter, right? His daughter finds the cure, okay, to be able to, not the cure, I mean, I guess the poison to be able to kill these things. And she sends her father back to the past so they can use this and mass produce this thing to be able to, to do it in the future, right? So the guy has the thing, and then he goes to the volcano kid, and they figure out, hey, that hey, the aliens have been here all along, and this is where they probably are. They're in Russia somewhere under a giant iceberg, right? So this guy, who is the father of the leader of the future, right, has the fucking thing, the antidote, whatever, to kill him. Goes to the top guy in the U.S. government at the time and says, hey, this is the deal, blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, oh, you're on your own. And then, of course, he's got to find his own little team of people to fly covertly into Russia, because, that's so easy to do these days, right? To fly covertly into Russia.
Well, what's going to happen if you go over to the president now and say, hey, I'm from the future. I got this thing here that's going to help us.
No, but they know that they know that they're from the future. This is, it's not like he's appearing there out of nowhere. The reason that everything's going crazy is because they've been, because of this, they know about this war. This is not new. This is not, this is not like news to the guy. You know what I mean? So they go back and so that kind of like, they always, I mean, I guess it's part of the whole formula for those kind of movies. The government says, you're on your own. Then they got to get, a group of ragtag people, whatever, to go and do the deed, right?
When you say ragtag, that's where we come in, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So that was, that always kind of like, it's like, oh my God, it's like, they never like these it's like I mean, it's kind of true to the way our government is, because our government, obviously it's horrible, and they never listen to reason. But our government is always, it never listens to reason, obviously. So, but that was kind of, and it was kind of funny that they kind of threw a little global warming in there. It's like, hey, you know what?
I got that they threw that the political man. We got to get this message in here.
Yeah, global warming. If we wouldn't have global warming, those things would have still been frozen and stuff. There'd be no aliens.
And for 1,000 years, it's like Nick Fury when he told all the Avengers and showed them Coulson's cards, the bloody cards, and threw them on a table in front of Captain America, and then they all get motivated to get out there and fight. And then Hill is like, Coulson had those cards in his locker. Like, well, they needed a push. He's the government. He doesn't want to do it. He wants them to do it. So he's like, you go do it. I agree with you. I agree. Well, you got to suspend belief.
Yeah, it's like you guys just said, like this highly trained military can't do it. But me and the boys are going to take care of it this weekend. We're going to go in
exactly.
There and the aliens.
And here's the thing: his daughter was supposed to be a genius, and she was the leader of the military for some reason, and the leader of the scientific community, and the person that discovered the cure. It's like they didn't have enough actors to put in the movie or something like that. She was all three of those people. My thing is, if she knows, okay, we fought them and we got the crap kicked out of us, so I'm going to use the science thing. I'm going to come up with this thing that'll kill them, to wipe them out. So I'm going to go back and get more troops. Why didn't she go to Elon Musk? Why didn't she go to, some smart people? Why didn't she come back and take brilliant people, scientists, and bring them and say, hey, because her pop helped her figure out the cure. Mm-hmm. And, he only had a week. So her pop came there and in just a couple of days figured out the cure, because he was unconscious for like 2 days. He was out there fighting for a day. So half a week, her pop figured it out. If she would have came back and got like a bunch of brilliant dudes, I mean, that rich guy last week decided he wanted to fly into space and had a spaceship built.
Tomorrow, Bezos is going up tomorrow.
Bezos is going up tomorrow. So they've got rich, brilliant people, or at least rich people who know brilliant people. She could have got one of them, way back. And got one of them, brought them up and said, hey, man, I got a cure. I'm so close. And then they're like, oh, well, add a little mayonnaise or whatever the missing ingredient was and fix it. And then they could have mass produced that, and just killed all of them. But instead, she's like, no, this is the Earth. We're going to fight with them. You got to suspend belief in these movies.
And I'm looking at it like we have, hey, Carl Stroh, what are you doing Saturday? I don't know. What do you got in mind? Want to go kill some aliens? Yeah, that sounds good. I'm in. Just we got to be home by 5. But
that's where I think back to Troy, with the point that Troy was making. That's where I think the whole movie was rushed. Like they rushed it. They could. I mean, if they would have made this into like a season 1 of a 6 episode, 1 hour episodes, whatever. This thing would have been the most watched thing. Like the most watched
numbers. Don't get me. It got good numbers.
No, yeah, but I'm saying, but they could have really stretched it out, and make it into a series, and it would have been. I think it would have been a lot more. They could have put more thought into it, and and actually, put a little bit more behind the characters, because they had some cool characters, right? But I mean, everything was so rushed that they could have. I think they could have really done it justice if they would have made it into like an Amazon series or something like that.
Well, I also liked the fact what was I saying? First of all, I didn't buy that Chris Pratt's character abandoned the family. It just didn't seem like the character that we already knew, that she said, right, you abandoned us. So I didn't, to me, that was the most thing that I couldn't believe in the whole movie. That this
right, but that's what I'm saying. That goes into the character building. What happened? Why did he do that? In the beginning, they showed him where he was he didn't get the job for something, right? So maybe, that could have caused them to go into a spiral of being unemployed, whatever. And, and maybe that, could have caused friction between him and his wife. And, they could have gotten a divorce. Life happens, right?
It was his daughter.
They could have really developed.
He left the wife and daughter, they were saying beforehand.
No. I think the reason that he went to the downward spiral is because initially he goes into the future and he tries to catch the daughter and she dies. And then he goes back knowing that no matter what he does, his daughter's going to grow up and be slaughtered and eaten by these aliens. And it made him go to booze. And then from booze, he left the family. But what I want to know is, what was the catalyst that changed that?
Right,
Because
exactly.
you leave the family. Something happens to you when you go back and you leave the family. And she dies. So that's what happened to him. But
right.
she still died. And instead of him going home and going to booze, he went home and went to his wife and said, help me. And she said, yeah, okay, let's figure it out. Why didn't he do that originally? Because they don't explain what the difference was.
Exactly.
Right, but there was no originally. That's the thing. You know what I mean? There was no originally. We never.
But we don't know this. See, this is what I don't get, because
we don't know this.
That's
what I'm saying. We don't know any of this.
We could be.
Well, the daughter said it. The daughter said that, you went back in time. And that was the last time. You went back in time, and when you came back a week later, you were changed. And I'm thinking, what changed him? I'm curious. And then she dies, and I'm like, he couldn't save his daughter, because that would suck for me. And I would have done the same thing. If she was falling into the aliens, I'd have been like, no, I'd have dived in there too.
Right.
It would have sucked for everybody involved, I'm sure. But I would have done it, and it would have crushed me when I came back home.
But that's his character, though. But I don't see his character doing that, because he was so upset about the daughter. So you get back home, you get that second chance with your daughter, and you're like, I'm going to watch you like a hawk now. You're not leaving my son. Yeah. Instead of, I'm going to leave you, you're on your own now. So
when she's like, yeah, Dad, I'm going to MIT. He's like, I don't think so.
Right. Homeschool, college, right? Exactly.
Homeschool. I got plans for you, man. Right. You're going to Bethune-Cookman College.
And I'm talking like I'm trashing. I'm just talking about the tropes, because I really did enjoy the movie.
I like the movie. I didn't dislike the movie. I'm trashing it in the sense that we're criticizing it, because I think that, like I said, it could have been a lot better. But I mean, I enjoy it. It's like the Black Widow. I really like the Black Widow, but it could have been. There's a lot of movies like that. This particular movie, I think that they didn't do it. The reason that we're kind of trashing a little bit is because I think we thought it could have been a lot much better. But it was much better.
We wanted more. We wanted
a lot much better. Exactly.
I think you're right. I think that's hitting it on the head. I did want more from it. Like I said, I love Chris Pratt, but I did want more feeling. And they're already talking about a sequel to it. They are they're saying a sequel. So if there's a sequel, we know that it didn't work already. Something didn't work here.
Right. And his father was in the movie for 20 minutes?
Well, it's not really. I mean, this was a strict Amazon thing. It wasn't in the theater, was it? I mean, I don't.
No, it's strict Amazon.
Right.
Yeah.
There's too many potholes. Like, who were the other aliens that brought the
exactly.
Why did they bring the white spot? Were they bringing them to Earth to kill humans, or were they trying to get them? Are these like just cosmic garbage men, and they're getting rid of rats?
Or Earth is the penal colony.
Yeah. A miniseries would have been great, because they could have done it like V. Remember that show way back?
I loved V.
For Visitor?
I smell a future podcast coming up.
Yeah. And like the alien, the mother, or the prime alien, when they discover the pheromones that would kill them, she stopped and she's actually looking at them. And I'm like, she knows what's going on. Right. She doesn't speak English, but she speaks to her other people. She can communicate, and she's aware that they're doing something that will kill her. And I'm like, they need to explore that, and she went for revenge. They burned her face, and she was looking for revenge to get them. I'm like, she's not like, a leopard or a tiger or something. This is a creature that is coherent about the things that's going on around it.
She was scheming and
plotting. They needed to explore it.
Yeah. You saw that, she understood what's going on and trying to figure out her way out of there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall, yeah, go ahead, Carlos. I thought you were going to say something.
No, I wasn't going to say. I'm enjoying your guys' conversation.
I think the reason that we're beating this movie up is because I'm going to blame COVID, and I'm going to blame Bruce Lee. And the reason that COVID took all of our shows and it narrowed it. We were getting like a big field of shows, 5, 10, 20 different things every month. Then there was absolutely nothing. And then there was just that one stream. We're getting Black Widow, and then we got to wait a little while. And getting Loki, wait a little while. Tomorrow War, we're getting that. It's just a stream. It's like a straight line. It takes me to Bruce Lee because I'm thinking about like Game of Death when Bruce Lee had those sticks and he was beating those guys up. There was a streamline of guys. That first guy got the crap kicked out of him. He was like, because he was the first one and he had all of that. He gave that guy the business. The rest of them, he just hit him once, twice, flipped him or whatever. But that very first guy, who was Jackie Chan, by the way, the very first guy, he like hit him like 27 times. That's what we're doing to the movies.
Well,
we dig them, but we're giving them
right.
kind of a smack.
I do agree with you on that. We're getting probably very nitpicky because it's like not a lot out there yet. Still, it is starting to come a little bit more, which is good. But yeah, I mean, we were beating up on it, looking for things. But again, like I said, I would watch a sequel. I am enjoying it. As far as time travel movies go, I thought it was okay. Not the best time travel aspect, but overall, I did enjoy this movie.
Oh, no, definitely, yeah. I mean, watch it. I mean, for anyone, I would definitely recommend that you watch it. It's definitely an enjoyable movie, must see. I guess, but we're like Troy said, we're dissecting it because we haven't really had much to watch lately, right? So anything that comes out, everybody's jumping on it. But it was a good movie, man. It was a good movie. It was an enjoyable movie.
I like the concept of going. I would not have gone personally and gotten troops. I've gotten scientists since science would fix it. But I like the fact that they use that to bring more troops to their time. I mean, you're getting decimated. You're running out of troops. What do? You go to the past. I thought that was kind of an ingenious idea.
I did like that too.
To get more troops. I was like, man, that's original. I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't remember seeing it in any other movie where they had that idea, pull troops from the past. And that was kind of cool.
Well, one of the things that I'll just jump on one more little nitpick. One of the things that I didn't buy whatsoever is that it was like everyone was glued to the World Cup. And I enjoy the World Cup, but most of this country could not care less. So that part threw me out.
Well, I'm a soccer guy, so.
No, I love soccer. Believe me, I love soccer, but that's not the majority of our country. So.
Huh? It is the majority of the world, my friend.
Yes, it is. So
that's something that would have got me. If somebody would have said, "Hey, man, some people from the future, they came and they need troops, so you're going to join?" I'm like, well, I don't believe that. There's stuff that's happening today that I don't believe. There's too much that's going on right now that I'm like, If they would have said, 45 troops showed up from the future and they want people to help, I'd be like, so what's on TV? I'd completely ignore that because that doesn't even sound like the truth. And then these people are like, yeah, let's go, let's fight in the future. And I'm like, seriously? Aliens?
And I'm putting something on my arm, like this electronic thing stapled into my arm.
Yeah. Bolt that to my arm? Nah.
Exactly. Well,
I mean, if you think about it, like you guys are saying, I guess obviously the movie would have been 5 minutes long, right? But if people come from the future and say, "Hey, we need warriors," and we're going to start drafting and taking them, no government is going to agree to that. Nobody's going to send that. Nobody's going to go to the future. 30 years from now, they'll try to figure out stuff now. What can we do now to prevent it from happening in the future? But nobody's going to travel to the future to go die. It's not going to happen.
I'd be doing one of those things like, in those other movies, like, if I could get you someone in my place, would that be good?
I'd be watching TV, drinking my drink, talking about those fools from Russia.
Right.
We'd all be crossing the border to Canada and stuff, right? So we don't have to get drafted.
Of course.
Man.
Anyway, that's our thoughts on the Tomorrow War. So yeah, overall, we all liked it. So in the comments, let us know. Let us know what you guys thought. Let us know if you agree, disagree, and also you can let us know what you'd like us to cover next. Anyway, this has been Comics and Pop. Again, as always, thank you for watching. Remember, hit that subscribe button and press the notifications so we can get whenever our episodes come out. Thank you.